life is this family, Jerry, and it does not work without him.
And he's up on his feet, and the crowd loves it.
In Jeremy Lin, we trust. Jason Gay, Wall Street Journal sports editor in Brooklyn. Jason, you complete me. Jeremy Lin completes New York, doesn't it?
Well, it's certainly a pretty important ingredient of what the Knicks have to do for this offseason, that's for sure.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now, you went over the top with this particular column here, Jason. I mean, I loved it. I loved the Jerry Maguire parallel. And your point is, listen, the fairy tale movie requires a fairy tale ending, and the fairy tale ending is that Jeremy Lin stays in New York. But there's a chance he doesn't, isn't there?
Small chance. I mean, anything can happen. He's a restricted free agent, which means the Knicks have the right to not only match but outdo any kind of contract offer he receives on the outside. The question is whether they'll want to go long-term with a guy like Jeremy Lin, who, of course, just played a small amount of games this year. They were pretty memorable games, but got injured at the end of March, missed the playoffs entirely. So, it didn't really – the fairy tale was short-lived, and so the Knicks have a strange and kind of hard decision. Well, I don't know if it's a hard decision, but they have a decision that's going to be based upon a limited amount of information.
Let's pretend, Jason Gay, that you are the head of the New York Knicks. In the same way that maybe once upon a time you would have dreamed of being the head of the New York Jets. There are people out there like Tim Tebow or Jeremy Lin, and they fill the seats. Do you worry about filling the seats, or do you worry about building a championship team? What is your priority, Jason Gay?
Well, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think that obviously filling the seats is the more immediate issue for a team. But I don't think a situation – I mean, the Knicks played a lot better with Jeremy Lin. There's no question about it. I mean, I don't think anyone who saw them under Baron Davis's leadership in the playoffs or toward the end of the season would argue that he was a better option than Jeremy Lin. Now, can the Knicks go out and get somebody different? Can they get a guy like Steve Nash to come in and perhaps be the Peyton Manning to Jeremy Lin's team, Tebow here? That's a possibility, but, Lin is a much younger player, much greater upside. And, again, to go back to what you were saying earlier, there was kind of this, I don't know, fairy tale is the right word, but an emotional connection between Jeremy Lin and this city, which was very real. I mean, to go back to those couple of weeks in February and see the way that this place, this garden, this city erupted around this guy's story, it's not something to be ignored.
Can we look into, or can we discern any bigger picture comments or commentary about let's put it this way, about the ephemeral nature of the public's interest? And by that I mean Jeremy Lin was a big deal, but what would you say? It was a big deal for a month? How long was it? And what does it say about our ability to kind of create instant heroes and then discard them on the side of the street, based on some kind of injury?
In fairness to Jeremy Lin, I mean, he tore his meniscus. He got serious enough knee injury that it required surgery, and he missed the remainder of the season. I think had he not had that injury, we'd be having a different kind of conversation, because we would have seen how the Knicks performed toward the end of the year with Jeremy Lin as the point guard. We would have seen how he performed with a new coach. We would have seen how he performed in a big-time playoff series, probably against the Miami Heat. Maybe they wouldn't have faced the Miami Heat in the first round had Jeremy Lin not gone down at the end of March. Different kind of conversation. I don't think the public just ran away from Jeremy Lin. I think certain things contributed to it, the most important of which was him being hurt.
Okay, Jason, I want you to write the ending to the Jeremy Lin movie. Give me the Jerry Maguire ending here. What happens over the next few months?
Well, I think for sure he comes back to the Knicks. I mean, I can't imagine a scenario in which New York doesn't want him back. I think there will be suitors for him. I think you'll see teams within the division even, or in the conference, make a play for him, maybe to drive the price up a little bit, irritate New York a little bit. Toronto's been mentioned as a possible destination, maybe just across the bridge in Brooklyn. But I don't think a situation where Jeremy Lin leaves the city is really in the offing. And I don't think they're necessarily a championship contender for next year. This team has big-time structural concerns, how they handle the scoring options between Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, top of the list.
I got to run, Jason. Right. Appreciate your input, although I would say that's too much realism for a Hollywood ending.